right, so we have Kinjal over here, All India rank 732. Congratulations, Kinjal, first of all.
Thank you so much, sir.
Right, so first we would like to begin with, because you were a 2-year student, right? You were part
Yes,
of
sir.
our classroom program. So first tell me how things changed from first year to second year, because first year you people were slightly sluggish, if I'm not mistaken, and then
Yes, sir.
gradually all of you picked up in the second year. So what exactly happened during that period?
In the first year, as you said, we were a bit sluggish with our preparation. That is definitely true. And in the second year, the mocks started. We had more mocks and everything, so we became more serious, and we realized that we had to buck up our preparation to do well in the examination. And we could see all the students around us working hard, so that motivated us a lot too. So I think that's the main difference between the first and the second year. We were more serious about what we had to do.
Any key moments, like sometimes what happens is when you do very badly in a particular mock, or maybe it's just that someone said something which tends to impact a lot. So when did you really become serious, and what all things did you change once you became serious in terms of your preparation?
I became serious after my third mock, actually, because I expected to get a lot more than I got on my third mock. And after I realized that my friends were getting more than me, I became a bit more competitive. And then I realized that I needed to buck up my preparation if I needed to be better than them, or to be at least at par with them. So after I realized and started working on my preparation, I started making a timetable. I started making a timetable about what I should do first, and I listened to your advices and everything, and you told us to keep small things for every day, not to push ourselves too much for our preparation, and that helped me a lot. I started reading the newspaper daily, something which I have never really done in the 16 years of my life, but that helped me a lot. So yes, that's basically what I did.
Kinjal, when you started your preparation from 11th, did you decide you had to do law, or did you have any backup option?
No, I had decided I had to do law. My dad's
Right.
actually a lawyer, so I was inspired by him, and I really wanted to do law. So I went ahead with law as my one and only plan.
Throughout the journey, did your father reprimand you about it? Ki, what are
Yes.
you doing? How is the preparation coming along?
Yes, every day. He still does.
All right, all right. Now, can you tell me this? Ki, is it important now for you? It is very convenient because your parents were in the legal field. But is it also important to self-realize why law before you start beginning this preparation? What was your motivation of joining law as a career?
It is very important, I feel, to self-realize about this career, because it is not an easy career, and unless you have a proper interest in it, I find it difficult for someone to do very well in this career. And my inspiration was, of course, from my father. I saw my father. I used to see him go to the court every day, and I was really fascinated by how he worked. I used to see his files and everything, and I've always had this feeling of justice. It sounds cheesy, but it's true. I've always wanted to know the rights and the wrong and everything. So that really helped me, and I feel that is very necessary to have that self motivation if you want to go ahead in this career path and to prepare for this examination.
All right. Now we continuously, now this is a pattern we've seen. A lot of people who are appearing CLAT in their 12th, with their 12th, they have a higher success rate and a better rank. So when you were starting, 11th is supposedly on an easier side. There is not much to do. But when you come to 12th, the academic preparation, your school level, it's thoda sa on the heavier side. So how did you manage your preparation with your school studies? And also, briefly, could you describe how did your day go? What were you doing throughout the day? How was your time management in the regard of examination?
So it's true. We had to juggle both the board exams as well as our CLAT preparation. So my timetable, it started with, I would get up in the morning and I would study for boards. because we usually had tests and everything. So I would study for both. After coming from school, I used to spend an hour with the newspaper, as you suggested. And after that, I used to I used to take two subjects every day, not all five of them, but then I used to go with logic and English, or legal and logic. And I would keep one day for quants because it's a tough area for me. And I didn't spend a lot of time in either of these subjects because then it would get tiring or boring, I would say. So to keep me interested and to see my time management and everything, I used to give half an hour or max 1 hour to each subject. And before going to sleep, I used to do the manthan that we have been provided by the Career Launcher website. And yeah, that's how my routine usually went.
All right. So, Kinjal, when you say that you used to give half an hour or something per section for your practice purpose, so this is also important to find out that would you give yourself a limited time per passage? I mean, would
Yes,
you
sir.
always time yourself for that?
Yes, sir. I used to have, so after solving a couple of mocks, I used to redo the mocks with a time limit. I used to give 20 minutes or 30 minutes for per, like for English language, I would give 30 minutes and I would see how many passages I'm able to complete in those 30 minutes. So I used to time myself so that I'd be used to the routine. So whenever I do a mock, I would have like a mental bell which would tell me that your 30 minutes are over, you should move on to the next section. So I feel that timing yourself during the mocks or during your practice is very important, because it's like muscle memory. While you're giving the mock, and then it just comes into your head, 30 minutes are over, you should move to the next mock. So that's what I usually did.
And also tell us a little bit about which were your strong areas and which were your not so strong areas, and how did you work upon the latter?
I would say my strong areas were English language and legal reasoning. Maths, it was a situation based thing. Sometimes I would find it easy, sometimes I would not find it easy, but I would still say that quants was one of my weaker sections, six sections that I had lacuna in. And logical reasoning, I found it a bit tough in the mocks as compared to the main examination, which was a lot easier than the logical reasoning passages we were used to in our mocks. So I would say logical reasoning and maths. For logical reasoning, I used to refer to the books as what that was given to us, and we used to discuss passages at times, me and Omkar and everything. And for quant, my 10th grade helped me a lot for quant, as well as the books that were provided and the classes. I used to repeat those classes to revise all the topics and subjects.
Right. So, how much time would you assign to each section in the mocks, and then eventually did you stick to the same plan for the actual CLAT?
Okay. So during the mocks, I would give um, 25, 30 minutes for English, 25 minutes for logic. I used to give 35 or to 40 minutes for legal, and 10 minutes actually for maths, and then 5 minutes because you either know GK or you don't know GK. There is no thinking in it. So 5 to 7 minutes I used to give for GK. Now, whether I followed this in the actual exam, it is a bit dicey because in the exam, I kind of panicked. And this is something I feel a lot of my juniors should know, that panicking is one of the biggest mistakes you can make in an exam. So, but I still adhered to my time limit to an extent because of the muscle memory thing. I still had that mental bell, so that helped me quite a lot. And the quant section in this exam was a bit difficult. So I didn't really do that much, but still it helped me.
Kinjal, what was the high point of the mock score? What was the highest score that you've achieved in mock? And when you achieved that, did it make you comfortable कि I'm ready for this examination now, or was it always a dicey situation कि होगा कि नहीं होगा?
The highest I scored was 115, and it was a dicey situation. Hoga ki nahi hoga. Because every mock was different and you had to prepare yourself for every challenge. I felt every mock was a different challenge, and you had to prepare yourself for the type of questions that were being asked. It was not necessary that just because I was scoring well in a couple of mocks, it will be the same for the next mock that I'll be giving. So every mock was a challenge, and I felt that I should pass it as it comes. I should look to it as it comes.
Okay, so I'll just bring you back to the actual CLAT exam since you mentioned you panicked. Because, see, this is also important because a lot of us, we do. When we are thrown some sort of a surprise, we do panic. But then you did well to recover from that and then, of course, manage the kind of rank that you did. Right? So, first, tell us why did you panic and then what exactly did you do to come back and then focus on the exam?
So I remember the day very well. I started the exam and I was pretty confident with English, and then I decided to go to maths. Then I went when I went ahead with maths, I realized it was a very time consuming paper. It was a very time consuming section. And after giving 2 to 3 minutes to that section, I realized that this was not my cup of tea. I would take a lot of time to solve these questions. And that is when I felt the first signs of panic. But then I realized that this was tough, and if it was tough for me, it would be tough for a lot of students. So then I went to legal because that's my comfort area. That helped me a lot. So I went and I solved legal, and that calmed me down a lot. That also helped me a lot. Then I went to the logical section, and then again I went back to GK, and GK again gave me a small minor panic attack, but I was still prepared for it. And then I took 2 3 minutes to calm down, and then I gave the paper, and then I submitted it.
Now that is a pretty non-conventional approach because we have had a lot of people who come for the interview. Now people appearing second section as maths is kind of rare because they maths automatically creates anxiety and they keep it for later. Now can you tell us this key when you appeared it when you completed the paper, what was the state of mind? What was it like? Were you confident it was a good paper overall for you, or was it a panic situation even after the examination went over?
After the examination went over, I realized that even if I panicked, it did not matter because the exam was done. And overall, I felt that it was not a bad paper. It was a pretty good paper. And I was actually happy that it was over, that my preparation, whatever I've done, has come to an end, and I've worked hard and I've given the exam as I wanted. So I didn't really panic after the exam, but I felt that whatever has happened, and I can't really change. What I can do is learn from my mistakes and not repeat them in the future, in my future examinations or my future life. So that
Right.
was the mindset I was in.
It did turn out nice. Now describe the situation. You're there expecting the result. You opened up the internet, checked your result. What was the first reaction, initial reaction? What were your parents there? Where were you when you checked the result?
I was at home and I was studying for my boards, and then I did not know the results were out at that point. But I just casually logged into my account to see, and then there it was, the result button. So I clicked on it, and I saw my rank 732. And honestly, at first point, I was a bit disappointed because I expected more. But then I spoke to my parents, and they were happy. They were happy for the rank that I got. And we sat down and we started thinking about the various universities I could get in with the rank that I had achieved. And then there were a few tears, of course, because we expected more. But then we decided that it'd be better to work hard in the university that you've got and to excel in that than to sit and cry for over spilled milk. So after that, we went to my brother's annual function. So that cheered my mood a bit. And so that is how my parents said. They were happy about it. Initially a bit sad, I guess, but then after that they were very happy about it, that I got into a good rank and everything. And so that's how my day went.
Do you categorically remember the marks that you scored section wise in the actual exam?
No, not really. I don't really remember categorically the marks that I scored. I do remember that I made the most mistakes in, surprise, English language. I did well in legal, I did very well in logic, and I did okay in GK, much more than I expected. But I surprisingly slipped. I'm so sorry, Vishal sir, but I slipped up in English. And maths, I did okay. So I think that pulled down my marks a bit. But yeah.
Right. Now, categorically talking about GK, every time we have had a current affairs class, I do remember the faces of the student. And for most of the part of the year, it was a blank, but then there was certain idea about what is happening around you guys. So now when you talk about GK as a preparation, the total mark is around 35.
Yes.
But turns out everyone focuses majorly on current affair, assuming that it is the deciding factor. Well, it's not. Now, if you had to give advice to somebody, how much time should one focus for current affairs, and what are the sources that you refer to? Did you make notes?
Yes, initially I started with notes. Your notes also helped us a lot. And if I had to give advice to someone regarding current affairs, I would say that we should not no procrastination. We should do it every day instead of waiting for a particular day, which was a mistake a lot of us made. So we should do it every day, not a lot, not like 3-4 hours a day, because it is not possible for someone to sit for 3-4 hours a day and do current affairs. But I feel that a person should do it every day for a small amount of time, but they should do it properly. And as of awarding current affairs so much importance, as you said, it is not as important as we had awarded the time that we had given to it, because it is not the deciding factor. And if you prepare well in the other sections, then it is more it is sure that you would get better marks in other sections if you prepared in them both, because GK is very, as this paper proves, it is very vast and you don't know from where the questions will come. So it is better if you focus on areas which you can control a bit more, as of focusing on GK. So that will be my advice, to focus more on other areas and to accord less time but continuously every day, so that it becomes a routine, it becomes a habit, and you're able to retain in a better manner by revising every second or third day.
Right. So, in an exam like CLAT, which demands a lot of reading in a span of just a couple of hours, right? So, was it something that you were accustomed to? Were you someone who was always a voracious reader, or is it a habit that you had to develop once you started preparing for CLAT?
It was not a habit. I have always been a voracious reader. I've read a lot of novels and books, not usually the kind that came in the mocks and the main paper, but that habit helped me a lot in the CLAT examination. Also the paper reading, the article reading that we were required to do, and that thankfully we did, helped us a lot in the main examination. It helped us to read faster, to read in a better way, to understand the words that we would usually have found difficult if we had not read the newspaper daily or practiced the passages. So it was not a habit I had to build for CLAT. It was a habit that I had earlier, and I inculcated it into my CLAT preparation, and I worked more on it so that I could speed my reading.
So, going forward, what are your future plans?
My future plans, I'm currently waiting for the first allotment list, which is due on 18th January. And I will be giving my Sahodhi examination tomorrow. And so I'm preparing for both my boards, as well as I'm waiting the
These are
results.
the short-term plans. I'm talking about the long-term ones.
Long-term plans is getting into a good university and studying hard and making a lot of money. Yes.
I'm sure you would.
Right. Kinjal, I wanted to ask this. In the actual paper, what was your number of attempts, and what were your attempts in the mocks? Like, was it a conscious choice ki I have to attempt more than 100 or 120?
Yes, it was a conscious choice to attempt more than 120, but usually in the mocks I attempt up to 125 to 130. But in the real examination, I think subconsciously I attempted 115. I attempted 115 questions. So I did pass my benchmark of 100, but still I attempted way less than I usually did in the mocks. It was not a conscious decision to attempt that less, but I think subconsciously I was more I didn't attempt as much. I'm so sorry. I didn't attempt as much as I usually did.
Right. Now, this is something that I have to ask because when the result came in, you weren't happy with your rank. So, Kinjal, are you sitting for the exam again?
No.
All right,
I'm
all
not
right.
sitting with the exam again. I was told, my grandparents and my parents, they sat me down, and I think this would help a lot of people. They told me that whatever rank that you got, you should do well because this is just the beginning of the journey. Getting into an NLU is not everything. After getting into an NLU, you have to retain that position, you have to study hard, you need to top that university to be known. So that is more important. So I will not be sitting back for the examination again. I will be working hard whatever I've got, and I'll do well in life.
Right. The only question I've got is this: your preference list.
Yes,
With
sir.
a rank of 700, which college are you expecting to?
I am expecting Mumbai, Cuttack, and Bhopal. I'm crossing my fingers for Bhopal, but I'm expecting Mumbai and Cuttack. One of these two.
Either ways, one thing is for sure, that you are all set to do very well in life, and we wish you all the very best in your future endeavors.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kinjal, for taking out the time. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.